All right. Welcome everyone to our 8th grade bridge session today. We're going to be talking about time management and how to effectively beat procrastination and prepare yourself for high school. Okay. So as you get older, as your students get older, it's really important to manage your time better, right? Especially with more responsibility and more freedom. And so hopefully I can provide some tools for you and your family today that will help provide, just different strategies that maybe you might already be doing. Maybe you're not doing them already. I have a couple different things that I have here that I use and I've been teaching to my students. And so, yeah. All right. So time management. Let's see. You can all see my screen. Yeah. Okay. All right, so our first question for the day, what is time management and what types of things do you waste time on and how could you change these habits, okay? So if you're a parent, you can share this. If you're a student, you can share this. This is meant for everyone, right? I admit I waste time on things too. So what types of things do you waste time on? Sometimes start binging a show and honestly, it wastes time. So I would say that's mine. Okay, so we have some different answers. Pointless tasks. Yes. And sometimes we waste time on things that are good for us, right? Like every once in a while, it's okay to waste time on things we like to do that have no point, right? Those are leisure activities and it's okay to do that. The problem is when it gets out of hand, right? So like I see reading on there. If you're reading for like 8 hours and you have other responsibilities, that could be a problem, right? So yeah, so we're going to discuss what time management is. Okay, so time management skills help you use your time effectively so you can spend as much time as possible on the things you love to do. Good time management skills are crucial for students to prioritize tasks and complete schoolwork on time. By planning ahead and allocating time for projects and assignments, students can better use their time. Enhances organization and confidence and learning effectiveness while maintaining procrastination related stress and poor grades. Let me go ahead and let this person in. High school students in particular benefit greatly from these skills due to increased workload and extracurricular commitments they face. And whether you've been homeschooling for a short time or a long time, typically homeschool families have a lot going on, right? And sometimes there's multiple kids involved. And so depending on how many activities you're doing, and then also managing your schoolwork, it becomes a little bit trickier, right? Because you're not physically going to school during the day. And so you have to manage your time a little bit better. Welcome. Just as a reminder, we're recording today so that I can put this on our website for people who are able to come today. And we're talking about time management today. Okay, so I'm going to provide you some different tools for time management. And so these are just tips. I got this from a website. And I have all of the sources listed too at the end if you would like to know. So creating a master schedule is really important, whether you're a student and you're just creating your own schedule or you're a parent and you are managing multiple student schedules, right? I think it's like I wish I could be that person who didn't have to have a schedule because, as you get older, your brain doesn't work as well. And I like heavily depend on my schedule. So creating a master schedule with classes, with homework, with activities, with maybe even meals or planning in breaks, lunch, are really important. So having a schedule is really important, especially when you're in high school, because you have all these classes. And not that you didn't have classes before, but when you get into high school, they count for credit. And if you don't pass them, then you have to retake them again, right? In order to get your diploma. So it's important to like just do the class and get it done and do your best the first time. And so a way to do that is to create a master schedule so you're able to juggle all those things. Use an agenda. Okay, so an agenda is like a task list of maybe things that you need to do, okay, or kind of like a to-do list, if you say. So there's different ways to do that. There are sticky notes, or there's even a sticky note app on your computer that you can use. And maybe have like things that you need to get done, right? So maybe from like 9 a.m. to like 10 a.m., maybe you don't have any live classes, maybe you don't have any activities, but you really need to work on math on Tuesdays and Thursdays, okay? And so you look at that and you say, okay, I'm gonna work on math during this time, and these are the things on my agenda that I need to work on for math. So having like specifics of what you need to do on your agenda. Eliminate distractions. And this is really hard for teenagers, I feel like sometimes. Maybe your teen has a phone, maybe they don't. Maybe they have games on their computer, maybe they have, I don't know, a TV in their room. I homeschooled my kids a couple years ago, but that was one of the things that I really had to hunker down on, was eliminating distractions, especially when my oldest was doing school. So that they can focus and they won't get distracted with other things and get off track, right? That doesn't mean that you have to sit there for 3 hours straight and do your work, right? Because like, honestly, I couldn't even do that. But maybe scheduling time to like move around and, you know, go outside and take a walk, or go take a run, or watch a show for 15 minutes. You can schedule that into your time, but eliminating those distractions and creating a space where they can really focus on what they need to do during that time is really important. All right. The next one is set goals. So, if you've ever asked your children, hey, what's your goal for today? I don't know if you guys have ever tried to do that before with a teenager. I actually have a teenager right now. And he's like, I don't know, what does that mean? Like most of them don't have a concept of like setting goals, right? They're just doing what you tell them to do, doing their homework. And so setting goals is important because if they want to achieve, for example, in the beginning of the year with my high school students, I teach a 9th grade class. It's called Directed Studies, and we work on goal setting. And so I ask them, like, what's your goal for this year? And some of them are like, I want to just get like B's and C's because I know that I struggle academically. And, I feel like that's attainable, right? And I'm like, great, and then we are like monitoring that. Are you getting these grades? What are you doing? And adapting, their goals based on their original goal. So as you know, there's long-term goals and there's short-term goals, okay? I really suggest setting goals with your students, even if they're not academic at the beginning of the year, because I think it's just great for students to do that because, as an adult, you have different goals and things that you have to accomplish, right? And so getting them in the mindset of working towards something bigger than them is a great thing for students so that they can gain independence and confidence. Okay, start working on assignments early. Now, I will tell you that when I was in high school, I was very guilty of this. I would wait till the last minute because I wasn't really good at planning. And that is overwhelming. If anybody has ever done that before, if you have to work on an essay, which when you get into high school, you will have to work on multiple paragraph essays. And writing essays, for example, is a process, right? And you got to start early. So maybe incorporating working on assignments in your schedule and putting them on the agenda early, like when you know about them. So for example, if there's an essay and you have to turn it in a month, let's start working on it, 2 days a week and start planning, and then creating goals on what we're going to do each week. So then by the time it's due, your student feels successful and confident that they're turning in a good piece of work and it's not rushed and scrambled. So looking at students will get syllabi if they're in virtual classes, or if you're doing curriculum at home, there's always like a course schedule. With your student, sit down with them and schedule out like, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're expected to do, so that they have like a big picture of what's going on and they can start working on those assignments. And so that kind of leads into the next one, is making a project plan. So if they have a big project coming up, like backtracking, right? What's the first step? How long is that going to take us? And then what's the next step? And all the way to the end, scheduling the project or making a project plan, scheduling that into your schedule. So yeah, that kind of goes along with start working on assignments early. Okay, and then the last 4 are work on one thing at a time. So I don't know if there's any moms in here, but I'm guilty of this. I will start doing something. I'll start doing the dishes, and then I'm like, oh no, I need to get water. So then I'll go get water, but I didn't finish the dishes. And then I'll, then sooner or later, I'm doing 5 things at once, which isn't very great, right? You're not really getting anything done when you're doing multiple things at once. So working on one thing at a time and prioritizing that one thing is really important, even if it's like a short burst, right? If they're working on math for 20 minutes, okay, so you're just working on math for 20 minutes and then you're done, right? You're not working on math and English and maybe watching a YouTube video. Just prioritizing and really focusing on that one thing. Study in shorter bursts. If you have ever studied for a test and really crammed, that's kind of stressful sometimes, right? So studying maybe for 20 minutes, right? And maybe moving around while you're studying. So it helps you retain, if you're like a kinesthetic learner, retaining some of that information. I like to, when I've studied before, I'll watch a movie about something that I'm studying about, and I'll stand up or I'll get on a treadmill and watch that. If you can't do that, if you need to read, maybe just like reading, standing up, and then for like 20 minutes, and then maybe like summarizing what you learned and then taking a break, right? So it depends really on you and your students and how long they can sustain that for. But like, if you study for hours and hours and hours, chances are you're not going to retain all that. So start early in the day. Okay, so I know that with teenagers, and I've experienced this too, my son would get up at 6 a.m., no problem. That's what time we wake up in the morning. My kids go to school with my husband, and so they got to get up at 6, and then they're out the door by 7. He is really struggling with that. And it is not because he's staying up late, it's because he's going through puberty, honestly. And students who are, going into high school and becoming young adults, they need more sleep. So being really cognizant of their, okay, so now I'm jumping ahead, being cognizant of their sleep. But when you start early in the day, your brain is like at prime levels right then. So if you can, start them early in the day. I'm not saying they need to start school at 6 a.m. Every family is different, but if you could front load the harder things in the morning, usually that will work better, because they are able to give their brain power, which is fresh from sleeping, towards those hard things. And then the next one is get 10 hours of sleep. Watch, like that's crazy for some adults, myself included, like I feel like I need 10 hours of sleep. However, I don't feel like I ever get that. So for your kids or for you students who are growing, it's really important for you to sleep, because your brain is developing and it's growing. And so you need that sleep so that you can focus the next day. So it's really important. Great. Okay, so question, what were some of the strategies presented that could benefit you? So maybe you knew all these things already. That's great. Maybe you saw something that you're like, I could probably benefit from this. What was something that stood out to you? So we have making a master plan and studying in shorter bursts. Good. Maybe sleeping later, setting goals. Yeah. And also part of that sleeping too is like going to bed on time, right? Maybe you don't go to bed at 8, but going to bed maybe about 9:30 for ninth graders is probably an appropriate time to go to bed. I know some kids who stay up and they watch TV all night or they're on their phone. So remove those distractions because sleep is so important. Um, thank you for sharing. Okay. Okay, so we are going to watch a video about steps you can take to improve time management. Okay, so hopefully this works. Here it is. Are you? Okay, let me make this look bigger.
Constantly finding yourself behind at work or school? Do you arrive at the end of the day and realize you've accomplished nothing on your to do list? Well, odds are you're not very good at time management. And that is not doing your psychological health any favors. In fact, a study published in Work and Stress found that workers who didn't productively manage their time felt less in control of their lives. Here's the good news: you can get better. Paying attention to how you spend your time will help you manage it more effectively. And we're going to help you learn how to do just that. Today on Wellcast, we're going to get you in control of your day with our RACK method: recording, analyzing, and changing. 3 easy steps to great time management. Pause and print a copy of our handy Wellcast day planner.
We're going to go through the planners in the next slide, so you don't have to print anything. I have it for you. So just go ahead and keep watching.
Finish printing? Let's dive in. Step 1, recording. When you wake up tomorrow, note the time in your day planner. As the day progresses, write down everything that you do. Yes, we mean everything. The 10 minutes you spent getting dressed, the half day of productive work, the hours you spent between social networking sites, we mean it all. Keep this up from the time you wake up until you go to sleep. Step 2, analyzing. At the end of the day, go through the schedule and highlight any chunks of time that you don't feel were used productively. Pick out your 5 biggest time wasters in your day. Be honest with yourself. You spent a half an hour by the coffee machine talking to your coworker. You spent an hour on Facebook, and you stared into space for 20 minutes. Come on, you get the picture. Especially focus on the time wasters at work. Why? A study published by the British Medical Journal says that workplace stress is minimized by effective time management. It also says that workplace stress bleeds over into home life and undermines a relaxed life at home. Here's the ugly part: add up all the time you wasted. How much productive time did you blow on activities that got you no results? Step 3, changing. Now it's time to come up with a way to get that time back. Here are 3 ways to change your time-wasting habits and become a better time manager. Prioritize. To-do lists are a really effective way to manage your time and your priorities. Limit the number of tasks you have on this list to 5 and assign rankings to them in order of importance. Declutter. Not only is decluttering great for your health, but you won't waste time digging around piles of stuff to find that one piece of paper that you really need. Check out our Wellcast on Clutter for some helpful tips on lightening your load. Schedule. Hey, we all try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but odds are multitasking will actually just stress you out and delay you even more. Instead, set aside blocks of time for individual activities. For each activity, set start and stop points. This way your day is cleanly segmented. Then stick to this schedule. Try going 1 week using these tips to reduce your wasted time. At the end of a week, go figure out where you've improved your time management skills and how much time you've saved. Let's recap. Today you learned how to manage your time better by using our Wellcast RACK method. You recorded, analyzed, and hopefully changed how you use your time. And you did this by learning how to prioritize your most important tasks, declutter your workspace to save you time, and you learned how to build yourself an effective schedule to block out your day. Hey, how did RACK work for you? We want to hear how much time you were wasting and how much you're saving now. Tweet us.
All right. Let's see. Okay. So we're going to try that now, the RACK method. Okay, so on the next 3 slides, you'll fill out your typical Tuesday. Okay, so I picked Tuesday because sometimes I feel like Mondays are just rough. And identify time wasters and list your priorities. This task will help you visualize how you use your time and how you could do better to management. Okay, so just think about like this Tuesday. Okay, what did you do this Tuesday? And write it down. And also to, like I said, this is going to be posted on our website. So if you ever want to just like take a screenshot of these things and do them later, that is fine too. So yeah. Okay, so the first one is our day planner. Okay, so for me, and I'll just go through mine just as an example. 7 a.m. my kids are actually already out the door. I might go exercise real quick. And then I come back and I shower. And then I start work about 8:30. Depending on, let's see, on a Tuesday, I have a live class around 10. So I will answer emails. And actually in the morning, I don't really waste a lot of time because like I said, early in the morning, our brains are like at our prime, right? And then I'll teach my class and then I'll take a little break. And sometimes I will get stuck on my phone doing things that aren't great. They're time wasters. Okay. So just for our purposes today, maybe I waste an hour on my phone. Okay. And then 11 o'clock, I get back to work. And 12 o'clock, maybe I eat something and I'm working again, teaching at 1 to 2. Usually I go pick up my daughter at around 2:20 and then I bring her home. We're home usually before 3 and then we do homework and I finish some work for myself while she's maybe having snack. And then maybe 4 o'clock, I'm finishing work. 5 o'clock, I am either making dinner or we're about to eat dinner. And I don't make anything fancy. If for parents out there, like, my dinners take less than like 30 minutes. And I actually make a plan for my dinners so that I don't have to like create. Cooking is not my best forte. So I cook for nutrition. So then we have dinner and depending on the night, let's see, on Tuesday, my son has church and my daughter has softball. So we're out the door at like 5:45, dropping off my son at church and going to my daughter's softball. We get home about 7:38 and they take showers and I put them to bed. So my days are pretty full, but if you're a student, this might be different for you, right? As you get older and as you have more responsibility, there's less and less time that you have to waste, and you get a little bit better at managing your time as you get older. So yeah, that is like my schedule. Okay, I'm gonna go to time wasters now. So I know maybe you haven't quite filled this out. Like I said, this is gonna be recorded and posted on our website. So if you wanna take a screenshot of this and do this activity, that would be great because then you could kind of analyze your time, right? Okay, the next one is analyze. Okay, so let's say my time wasters were I was on my phone for an hour or I was at night, I was watching a show for 2 hours. Okay. Maybe I was staring into space for another hour because I was so exhausted from the day. Okay. So that could be an example of time wasters. Maybe for you as a student, maybe you were chatting with a friend too long, or maybe you're on your phone playing a game. Maybe you were watching a YouTube video. Yeah, I mean, that is totally fine. Yeah, there's a question in the chat. What if I do my schoolwork before I read? Okay, so time wasters are things that maybe inhibit you from doing or completing your responsibilities. So if you have completed all your responsibilities and you have free time, go for it, right? Do those things that are good for you and you enjoy. You know, reading books is awesome. Like, that's so great. So, and it's a good leisure activity. So if you have free time, and you know you want to read, go for it. I'm just saying, like, if you are like procrastinating a project or a paper and you get distracted with time wasters, right? Sometimes people have like big time wasters. I've heard of students in high school that they will game for like 6 hours during the day. And then their parents are like, what's going on? Why aren't you doing your work? You know, I thought you were working. So that's why it's important to identify those time wasters and take responsibility of those so that you can you know, be efficient in your school day. Okay, the next one is to change. Okay, so get that time back, list your priorities, and rank them in order of importance. Okay, so for me, my priorities are a little bit different, but maybe if you're a student, um, school, yes. Maybe you have a paper that you need to like really chunk out today, right? Maybe you need to plan that paper and maybe write the first paragraph. Um, Maybe you need to go out and do PE activities because you're just feeling kind of sluggish. So every day will have its own priorities, right? And I live by to-do lists. And quite honestly, my kids have adapted to that life because I leave to-do lists for them all the time. And it's just ranking the priorities. Like, what do we need to do first? What do we do second? And then it just helps you kind of organize all those things. Good. So I see school, outside, read, be with siblings. Yes, that is a priority too, right? Being with your family, having a social life is really important. Talking with friends, maybe you're in like scouting, or maybe you do swimming. Those things are important too for your overall health. Okay, so let's dig a little bit deeper. How can you use your time more effectively? Share what you learned from using the day planner. Okay, so those 3 different activities in the video that we watched. Think about how could you use your time more effectively, and if you learned anything, share it. I'd like to hear. So I think just like being able to identify the things that maybe we spend a lot of time on that don't serve a purpose, right? And I'm not talking about like reading after you have done all your responsibilities, but maybe like putting those time wasters first and then it taking up a big chunk of our day, right? Ooh, I like that. So setting rewards for yourself once you are done. Yes. So maybe like you're doing your math for 30 minutes and then you finish and you're like, yes, I can go get some grapes, or now I get to go call my friend and talk with them for 15 minutes. You know, having those times and like something to look forward to. Good. Okay. So let's analyze the following. What suggestions could you give him? Okay, so we're going to look at this student right here. John is a freshman in high school and he's having difficulty keeping up with his work. What kind of suggestions would you give him? Okay, maybe he's in ninth grade. Well, freshman, yes, he's in ninth grade. And he's like, man, I have English 9 and I have Algebra 1 and I have biology and I have to do PE and I have, maybe Spanish. Like those are all like hard topics, right? And he's just like overwhelmed. What could we do? What kind of suggestion would you give John? Ooh, I like that. So someone put do a 20 to 5 plan. And I think what that means is maybe do like 20 minutes of work and then have 5 minutes of free time, maybe? Yes, I like that. Yes, especially if you're overwhelmed. Maybe you have like an agenda or a to-do list of all the things that you need to get done. And maybe you've scheduled out your classes to do work for different days. and you work for 20 minutes and then you get 5 minutes off, right? Even as an adult, I feel like I kind of do that. Like I'll work on something for 20 minutes and then I'll move on to something else, or I'll take a little break. That is good for your brain. So someone's writing in the chat, if you're having trouble, look for help. Yes, that's another thing too. Reach out to your teachers. And that's actually another topic that we're going to talk about. I'm not sure which week, but we're going to talk about like advocating and communicating as a high schooler, which is important. Sending emails to your teachers, meeting with your teachers is a great thing. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, the transition from middle school to high school is a big change, and students often gain new responsibilities when they progress into their new schools. What responsibilities do you see yourself having in high school, and how will you manage your time effectively? Okay, so maybe you have chosen your classes for next year already with your IST, which is really exciting. And how are you going to effectively use your time, right? Maybe you have activities too. I know lots of students do different physical activities or gymnastics or taekwondo. Maybe you have music lessons. How are you going to manage all those things? Okay, so I have someone saying in the chat, saving time in the evening just for homework. So chunking out the time for the things that you need to do. As you know, homeschooling is a lot different, right? You don't just send your kids to school and then come home and do your activities. Sometimes your activities are like in the middle of the day, right? So you got to chunk your time differently. And maybe you're like a pro at that, which I feel like you guys probably are, especially if you've been homeschooling for a while. But finding the time and scheduling out your day is important. All right, that is it for today. Thank you all for coming. I do appreciate it. I hope you found some tips and tools that you might be able to use in your home. If you have any questions or want any of these resources, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm gonna go ahead and post this on our 8th grade bridge website, which I sent through email a couple times. It'll be there early next week if you wanna utilize any of these tools. And then I also have the credits on here too. So if you're looking, if you want a video or the article that I used today about the time wasters, feel free to see that on there too. All right, so thank you for coming today. I hope I can see you guys next time and have a great day.